to tell you, just stop for a second and tell you this image. In all the years, some of you have heard this, but it's just a great image. In all the years that I was a psychologist, a therapist, I was in analysis, I worked with psychedelics, I went to other cultures, I had spiritual teachers, I've done meditation. In all the years I've done all this stuff and all the spiritual practices, I have not gotten rid of one neurosis. Okay? It's important you understand this. I mean, not one. You'd think by attrition some of them would have gone. But I haven't gotten rid of one neurosis. The thing that changed, however, is they went from being these huge monsters that took me over, like, no, and then they turn into the, you turn into the... It's a place where you begin to see that your personality is your style. Your neuroses are your style. They're not your impediments. They're just the forms through which you play. And then you can start to get on with it. At that point, you stop feeding your personality so much and being busy getting rid of it and changing it and all that, because it's just, like, I'm not going to grow hair. I mean, I might as well see how handsome baldness is.
I love that little section when he's talking about that throughout all of his practices, he's still left with the same neuroses that he had when he began with. And I don't know where I first heard that. I think I actually heard it at the nail salon. I used to have this ritual where I would go to the nail salon and listen to Ram Dass. And it would just be such a psychedelic experience, because it's just the smell of the nail salon is so visceral. But then you're also just thinking about how strange this all is, And I remember just feeling so, such a relief, I think that there was always this feeling for a really long time that my best self, the most wonderful self, was hovering out there in the distance. And if I could just finally get it together, if I could just finally let go of all of my neuroses and all of these little things that were restricting me from being my best self, if I could just wake up in the morning at 7 a.m. every day and do yoga, then finally I would be there. And just hearing that, it was just like, damn, that's a fucking trap. That's a fucking trap that keeps you away from the present moment. In March, I was in this cabin in the woods, and we did shrooms, and we were sitting by the water, and I was feeling so emotional as it is. And I was talking to my lover, and I was basically kind of explaining, Ram Dass said this thing about how he's done all of this work and traveled and done psychedelics and worked with gurus and done all of this stuff, and he still hasn't, changed or let go of a single neuroses he had to begin with. And as I was saying this to my lover, I was laughing so hard. I was just laughing so hard because it was just it was just so immensely ridiculous that someone could go through all of this and be kind of exactly as they always were. And I was thinking about myself and just how ridiculous it's been feeling, that I've just been trying so hard to cure myself of my humanness, and that I'm exactly as neurotic, the same person that I was to begin with. And it was just so fucking funny to me, and I was laughing so hard, and then I just started bawling. I was just crying and crying and crying, because I was just it's so funny and it's so fucking sad. Why am I doing this, And anyways, I wanted to start it off with that little audio clip of Ram Dass. I always just gesso over old paintings to use the canvas again, and they end up looking kind of textured and not really like a clean surface. Sometimes you can see the previous painting peeking through, but I kind of like that. I like that nothing is kind of a clean start completely, that you're always starting with what you were working with before. And I like that you can see the remnants of what was before it. I'm like reflecting on different moments of my life. And yeah, I'm gonna actually just start reading. So I say here, over the summer, at dinner with my parents, I was laughing, telling them how at 18, I thought I would be one of the rare few people that wouldn't struggle in their 20s. I didn't just think it, I was doing everything possible to make it so. I wanted to be so aware and so evolved that I could catch all the mistakes before they happened. My first year of university was a tug of war between two impulses: the desire to participate in the exciting, carefree activities of youth, partying and drinking too much, and the desire to completely self-actualize. Every drunken night brought on a dreaded afternoon, a mist sunrise filled with weak winter sun. I felt trapped between hot yoga and the club, meditation and Molly. I wanted transcendence, but I was not ready to forego my college experience. The only moments of peace I remember from that time was walking back from hot yoga through the forest behind my residence. The streetlights shone through the skeletal trees, forming the illusion of a halo if you were to look up at it. It was there in those forests that I had this familiar feeling. It was as if that whole moment and all its parts, the snow, the trees, the orange streetlights, the blue shadows, reminded me of a picture book I read as a child. I couldn't remember what it was, but maybe it was about a group of animals finding their way back home. It was a deeply mysterious feeling. It was a feeling that I craved to hold on to, but just as quickly as it came, it was gone. It is exactly 12 o'clock on December 22nd. So it's my birthday. It's the eve of the winter solstice day. And I have 3 candles lit, and I'm just having my own private little ritual moment. But I've just been so fucking emotional, and I wrote down this thing that I really want to read. I'm like trying to read by candlelight. The thing about a trap is that it's better to fall into it than to try to avoid it. Because if you fall in, you have the chance to learn, to marvel at your humanness, your innocence, and your fallibility. If you try to avoid a trap, you will only fall into a much bigger, more complex one. What you have done to escape your fate will just secure it. Because the truth is, oh, this one not out. The truth is that it's all a trap. Reality is one big trap. That's the whole point. And it's so wonderful that every mistake, every detour can be a part of the dance, if you want it to be, if you choose it to be. All of that is your free will, your choice. It's your choice. That's the Tao. That's true freedom. You know, it all feels worthwhile. It all feels worth it. All of it. Falling into a trap just to remember you're in one. Just to forget. Just to remember. Just to forget. Just to remember again.